You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Friday, happy Venus Day, and welcome to the weekend. For those of you who are here live, let me know how you're feeling, how the energy is feeling to you heading into this weekend. And if you're finding this video later, know that I will be adding markers to the timeline for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to take you through each day of the weekend, the transits, the energy coming up each day. And as we always do on Fridays, at the very end, we'll do a 3-card tarot pull to see what other information or insights need to come through from the universe. Hi, Rose. Happy Friday to you, Corby. Hey, Rachel. All my regulars are here. It's Venus Day. It's a beautiful day. We're still feeling that opposition between that trine between Venus and Jupiter. So still feeling that abundant, lucky, beautiful vibe today as those two planets pull away from that balanced angle. Hi, Nick. Thanks for being here. So let's just get a current check on the energy. The sun is in Leo the last couple days of Leo season. Virgo season starts on Monday. So the next time you see me here live, it'll still be Leo season technically, but Virgo season is coming. And you know what? I'm going to pull the mic a little closer to me. I don't know. Can you hear me better? My field producers out there. But we're coming into the last degrees of Leo season, the last days of Leo season until next year. And the moon is now in Gemini. Happy Venus Day. I feel like my mind is restless. Thank you, Gemini moon, right? Body's a little bit tired at the moment, waiting for the energy to kick in for the day. The energy actually does feel like it's going to pick up in a lot of ways this weekend. Okay, great. My field producer is hearing me just fine. Yes, all my Virgo placements out there. We're excited for Virgo season. It's almost our time. It's almost here. Let's start by talking about what's going on today, Friday, August 19th. And we'll start, I almost forgot yet again, with our notable birthdays for the weekend. Today, these Leos are celebrating their solar returns. Bill Clinton is a Leo. I did not realize that, but kind of makes sense. He's like, I just thought of him on stage with the balloons, you know, the famous meme that went around a few years ago, like playing on stage with the balloons. Such Leo energy. Coco Chanel was a Leo. Matthew Perry, definitely giving Leo vibes, right, as Chandler. John Stamos is a Leo. Again, just makes sense. Fat Joe is a Leo. Let's see. Anybody else coming up that you see that we have to mention? Let's look at the weekend ahead. On August 20th, Demi Lovato celebrates her solar return. Andrew Garfield is a Leo. Amy Adams. Anybody else? Anybody else? Oh, Fred Durst. Interesting. And on the 21st, just to round out the weekend, Hayden Panettiere is a Leo. I see that with her hair. She's got like that lion's mane hair. Usain Bolt, Wilt Chamberlain, Kenny Rogers, Kim Cattrall. Yes, big Leo energy. Samantha from Sex and the City. Am I right? Brody Jenner is a Leo. Bo Burnham is a Leo. So many expressive, fun people celebrating their birthdays this weekend. And if you are a Leo, if someone you know is celebrating their birthday, let us know so we can give them a shout out as well. Saw Venus, Mars, the moon, and Jupiter along the elliptical this morning at sunrise. Ooh, there's just something so special about seeing the planets with our own eyes. It's ancestral. It's this deeper connection to the universe. It's so fun when we take that moment to go out and actually observe the transits, because remember, that's where everything we're talking about came from. People, humans here on Earth, thousands of years ago, just going up, looking at the stars, tracking the seasons based on the stars and the constellations moving in the sky. I love that. All right, now moving into what's happening today. We have the last quarter moon today moving from Taurus to Gemini. So the moon is now officially in Gemini as of 5 this morning, but I want to talk about the final connection that the moon made in Taurus first. So I think a lot of us have really been feeling that Taurus moon energy, kind of the pull to slow down over the past couple days. And actually, this is perfect because this went back a day, but you can kind of see what's going on here. The moon forming a conjunction to Mars. This happened at 4 a.m. Pacific time this morning, Friday morning. So 7 a.m. Eastern time, starting your morning even farther east with this burst of energy. If you're like Rose and you live in Hawaii, maybe you were up late last night. Now, what's interesting, when the moon forms a conjunction to Mars overnight, really anytime there are transits that happen overnight, there's kind of the potential, because we're not necessarily conscious. So you might have had restless sleep, aggressive dreams. The moon conjunct Mars brings in energy, aggression, makes us want to take action. So yeah, that could have caused you to wake up around 4 a.m. Pacific time, or if you're lucky enough to live farther east, at least for this transit, you probably woke up with like a burst of energy, like I'm ready to go, I'm ready to take action, as the moon formed a conjunction to Mars overnight. But like I said, the moon moved into Gemini at 5:07 a.m. Pacific time. So most of us on the West Coast or farther west woke up under a Gemini moon. And let's just fast forward on the chart so you can see what the current energy looks like. The moon now at 3 degrees of Gemini, still technically conjunct Mars. And actually, let's just take a moment. Let's take a moment to talk about Mars. Mars is still at the anaretic degree until about midnight, 12:30 tonight. That's when Mars moves into Gemini. And we'll talk all about Mars and Gemini and what's to come in just a little bit. But as we're talking about the emotions of the day, there's no major transits this Friday. It's all about the moon. As we're talking about the emotions of the day, remember that Mars is at the anaretic degree. So the moon meeting up with Mars kind of jump-started this restless energy of the day today, but all day today, just know that fuses are a little bit shorter. Anytime a planet is at the anaretic degree, there's this jumpiness, this restlessness to get into the next energy, to move on to the next thing. And when we're talking specifically about Mars at the anaretic degree, we could just be like a little aggressive, a little bit short-tempered, we're restless, we want to move. So moving your body would be great. With the moon in Gemini, there's like, even I think it was Rose saying feeling restless mentally, like that can definitely be activated. Yeah, I feel like my mind is restless, she said. So just to know that even if you're feeling good, in general, there's an energy of like just trying to get there, just trying to get to the point, being impatient. I would say be extra careful. You should always be careful, but extra careful like driving or putting yourself in any high stress, high intensity situation. Getting behind the wheel of a car is always a risk, we know, but just be especially perceptive. As you know, I get a visual of people like cutting you off in traffic and just being restless and impulsive that way. So just be especially careful, watch your own emotions, watch your own temper, give other people grace if they're feeling that restlessness too. Just Mars at the anaretic degree, not the most fun energy to be in, but tomorrow we get a new start with Mars. Rachel says, had a huge power outage and it was super hot, couldn't sleep, but just really anxious and restless. Thank you, Mars. Yeah, not only the moon conjunct Mars, but at the anaretic degree. Like, okay, can we just get to the weekend already? That's kind of what this energy feels like. That can we just get through the day today? This is why I've been quiet and I've kept to myself. But look at that awareness, Corby. You're like, I know that I am this close to just unleashing, so we're just gonna reel it in. We're not gonna take it out on anybody else today. But that's why I say moving your body, even like writing, journaling, doing like a rage on the page. I think Gabby Bernstein coined that term where you just, if you're feeling angry, take a page or open your journal to a blank page and write until you fill the page and just get it all out. Verbally processing, mentally processing under the Gemini moon is favored. So, this could be a day also, as we're now in the waning phase of the moon, this peak releasing phase of the moon, to have conversation as a form of catharsis or release. Now, we want to make sure that we're doing so in a safe environment. We're doing so in a way that's not like unloading our emotions on other people or even unloading our anger on other people. But if you do have a friend or somebody that you can have like this nice, safe conversation with and just vent and know that they're not going to take on the emotions, you've got good boundaries in that relationship, and also be able to receive their venting without taking it on, that would be a really great way to release just through our words. So if you're a verbal processor like me, finding someone who you can kind of bounce off of and just word vomit to, or if you're feeling like Corby and like, I'm just going to keep to myself, doing that rage on the page, opening the journal, letting it all out through your words in some way, shape, or form. Because remember, Gemini energy is mental energy. It's ruled by Mercury, so it's all about the mind. And so talking, writing, using our words, using our communication to release emotions is going to be really powerful today. The only connection the Gemini moon makes is at 8 p.m. and it's a sextile to Jupiter. And I just have to say almost all of the moon transits this weekend have a positive connotation. There's one that we'll get to on Sunday that brings a little confusion. But other than that, we're getting a lot of support from the planets emotionally. So when the moon hits 7 degrees, because Jupiter is now retrograde, moving backwards, it forms a nice sextile, supportive 60-degree angle to Jupiter. Again, this is 8 p.m. Pacific time. So if you have a night out planned, this can kind of keep the party going, help you get into that outgoing, social, generous mindset tonight. And, if not, even if you're just spending a night at home, expect to feel optimistic and good vibes about the weekend ahead late tonight. Jupiter just adds a nice little beneficial, optimistic flair anytime it forms a supportive connection to the moon. So tonight, expect the mood to lift a little bit, especially with the moon in Gemini. The moon in Taurus is like a heavier, more grounded, earthy feeling, right? Like a little bit slower. The moon in Gemini is like a little flightier, air sign, communicative, wanting to socialize, wanting to have conversations. And this support from Jupiter tonight just allows us to easily find silver linings, talk with other people, share ideas with other people, feel generous towards other people. So Friday night has a good vibe about it. And if you're feeling that pull to do something this Friday night, Jupiter is supporting you. Just know that Mars is still at the anaretic degree, so you might be feeling a little spontaneous or impulsive at the same time, and have that in the back of your mind, just to be careful and not to be too reckless. But for the most part, if we're looking for a good time, if we're looking for positive energy, it'll be easy to find with the moon forming a sextile to Jupiter tonight. So that's our Friday. And Rose says, good to know that the planets have emotional support this weekend, especially as there is another memorial service I'll be going to tomorrow. Oh, I'm so sorry for your loss, Rose. But yes, there's a lot of emotional support, and I can imagine you having a lot of healing conversations at this memorial service with the moon in Gemini, like communicating, sharing about this person whose life you're honoring. And there can be a lot of release and healing through even just sharing stories about them. I think that's a really great way to process everything that's coming up. And that can be a really beautiful thing that happens at memorial services. As sad as they are, we really take time to honor this soul that graced all of us and, connected to all of us. So sending you love and healing, and just know that if you're feeling called to talk to other people or share stories, maybe you're the person with all this astrological knowledge that sparks it, like, hey, let's all go around and share a story about our loved one. I think that could be really, really cool and really healing. So that's our Friday. Let's move on to Saturday and our headline transit of the weekend. Mars entering Gemini. Mars, the planet of aggression, action, drive, moves into Gemini, the sign of the twins, at 12:57 a.m. So I can also imagine tonight being a late night for a lot of people, as Mars will be coming into those final degrees of Taurus. Like, okay, like let's just get on to the next thing, kind of keeping the energy high. And then once Mars moves into Gemini overnight, we are in this energy for the next 8 months. This is an extended stay with Mars in Gemini because Mars will station retrograde. And actually, let me pull up my calendar so I can tell you, just as we're talking about this transit, when Mars stations retrograde. I believe it's sometime at the end of the year. It's going to be October 30th, the day before Halloween. Mars stations retrograde. So I could see that this Halloween might be a little bit funky as far as like being a little aggressive with Mars at the station going backwards, but we'll worry about that when we get to it. Okay, let's just talk about the energy of Mars in Gemini. So you can find this graphic anytime on my Instagram, but let me move this down so you can actually read it, or actually we'll just get rid of it for a second. So Mars in Gemini. Mars, the planet of action, aggression, drive, war. It's that masculine energy, our sex drive, our willingness to be direct, to put ourselves out there, to move energy. It's a very energetic planet. Mars has been in Taurus for the past 2 months or so. And Mars in Taurus really helped us take grounded action and kind of push forward and gather resources and kind of go after the physical things that we want. Mars in Gemini, as we're talking so much about Gemini energy, is much more intellectual, and it's like multitasking, screaming multitasking. Yes, Gemini is the sign of the twins, associated with communicating, with our mental state, with gathering information, with variety. Gemini loves variety. So I can see us doing a lot of different things with Mars and Gemini over the next 8 months, having 5 projects going at once. Also being really motivated to have conversations or be on social media or share our thoughts. That can definitely be part of this transit. We kind of just want to do all the things, If Mars in Taurus has helped us reflect on our values and what we actually want and our desires, Mars in Gemini helps us to do all of them. So that could be a bit overwhelming if you put your eggs in too many different baskets. But in general, we're really motivated by learning new things, having new experiences, having a variety of experiences. You might want to enroll in a new course where you're really motivated to learn new information, to expand your brain and your mindset. Maybe reading new books. I could see people going through a lot of books over the next 8 months. Like, that's a really great way to actually use this energy of Mars and Gemini. Like, I'm going to read this book, then I'm going to read this book, It's like, I'm going to do this and this and this and this, one after the other. Don't be surprised also, though, because Mars is the planet of action and aggression. It moves quickly. Not physically, it's not the quickest moving planet, but once we get the drive to do something, it's like, okay, it's there. The energy is there to do it. It's that spark, right? Gemini does move quickly, being ruled by Mercury, like almost too quickly sometimes. If you have Geminis in your life, they're like squirrel, like easily distracted. So don't be surprised if you start one thing and then get distracted and do another thing and then pick up the first thing, and that style of multitasking plays out. But as far as our energy levels and our mood goes, you might swing from high to low in seasons of doing all the things and then kind of getting burnt out and doing nothing. So just know that, Gemini energy can be both. It can be all. It's not just two sides of the same coin. It's like a coin with 20 sides. And our energy levels could be all over the place. Our motivation could be all over the place. I just see this as like going with whatever feels alive in you at the moment and being willing to share. It's not predictable. It's not a predictable energy. It's not necessarily disruptive or surprising. It's just more like we're going to want to go with what we feel in the moment, and we're going to be motivated to do something and just want to do it right now and do it quickly. And so I see like juggling with Mars and Gemini over the next 8 months, like doing a lot of different things at once, maybe starting a lot of new projects at the same time, or just having our energy pulled in a lot of different ways. I'm sure some of you are feeling overwhelmed just hearing that, but again, it all comes back to awareness and knowing like, hey, Mars is in Gemini. I might feel motivated or driven to start all these different things. Let's come back to what I really want and my energy levels and recognize I don't want to be overextending myself in too many different directions. And the thing that comes into mind right now is you don't have to do it all right now. So if you have these desires that are popping up to do a variety of things or a lot of different things, write them down, brain dump them, and come back to that list throughout Mars and Gemini, so that you're not forgetting about them, but like you don't have to do everything all at once, if that makes sense. Oh my gosh, I start my last year of school next week. Perfect for Mars and Gemini. Great motivation and drive to learn new things. So, and this is really great. A lot of kids are going back to school. Mars will be in Gemini until March 25th. So not quite at the end of the school year, but there's really a motivation to learn and to communicate and share. Really a great energy for going back to school for people of all ages. I bought so many books recently, so now I feel more driven to just sit down and read them already. Who else is guilty of this? Like, oh, I really want to read that book, even though I have 15 other books on my shelf that I haven't read yet. One of my mentors told me sometimes she'll just put like a book on her altar and be like, I'm just absorbing the information. So I'm like, these books around me in my office, in my room, they're just bringing knowledge and wisdom in, even if I haven't had a chance to read them yet. But I'm glad you said that because I need a little kick in the pants to start reading all the books that I've collected over the past year. And just something on that note too, if you are feeling like drawn to read a book or learn something new, go to your local Goodwill or thrift store. I went to Goodwill when I was putting my office together, honestly, just to get some decorative books for the shelves behind me. Like you can't even really see the spine of them, but I ended up getting so many great books that I've wanted to read in great shape. The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle, Everything is Figureoutable by Marie Forleo, Drew Barrymore's biography. I'm like looking at my shelf right now. What else did I grab? What else? Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, just like a lot of these great spiritual books that people probably like myself got thinking like, I'm going to read this, and then never read it and donated it to the Goodwill, but they were all like $1 to $3. So great way to save money and follow that curiosity without breaking the bank and putting so much pressure on yourself to like read all the books right away that you go buy from Barnes & Noble or wherever at full price. Check your local thrift store first. And it's sustainable, right? Sharing resources. We love that. How exciting. You have your last year of school coming up. It's going to feel like forever when you're in the thick of it, but it'll be over sooner than you think. And Mars in Gemini, it moves quickly. I feel like the next 8 months, the actions we take, it's going to be a quick, it's going to fly by faster than we think, Mars in Taurus has been more slow moving and like planting those seeds and really digging our heels in with the actions we're taking. Mars in Gemini is like, woo, we are doing it all and we're doing it big, and we're jumping around from one thing to the next. No need to be sorry, you're here right on time. Feeling like doing more. Yeah, and being a Gemini too, Jackie, like Mars in Gemini is really going to ignite your vitality and your drive and your willpower at some point over the next 8 months, depending on exactly where your sun is. Might even hit your sun multiple times. But major Gemini placements definitely are going to feel Mars in Gemini once Mars crosses over those placements. I see Mars as just like a match lit under whatever that planet is to ignite it, to put more energy into it. So if you're a Gemini sun, expect to feel very energetic at some point over the next 8 months. Look at you too. You're so aligned. Just bought a ton of books and going back to school. So perfect, Mars and Gemini, for that back to school vibe. Oh, thank you for saying this. A local library needs love too. Even better than going to your Goodwill. Check out your local library. I could even see, like, I get this visual of with Mars and Gemini, like, just do it. Just walk into the library and then let your motivation lead you to whatever books you want to check out. That's also a great way to, like, check out all the books without having the commitment of, like, necessarily reading all of them, because we are motivated to and drawn to variety. The library is a really great way to use this energy. I know you do. Love reading all the books. Have been feeling like buying more, but definitely need to read the ones I have for sure, or head to your local library so you're not breaking the bank. Rachel says, my Mars is in Gemini, so you will have your Mars return. Definitely describe some of your energy, really learning to slow down, focus on one thing at a time, just enjoy doing things as you do them. Definitely a learning curve. Yeah, but there can be a lot of power in that, right? Like, I'm just going to do this, I'm just going to do that. Not everybody has that capacity to juggle and to multitask like you probably do. So yes, you can probably get easily distracted, or like Mars in Gemini feels a little bit like kind of taking action through our words too, like not blurting things out necessarily, but like, I'm just going to say this, I'm just going to say this, I'm just going to do this, you know? But yeah, you're going to feel yourself too at some point during your Mars return, a renewed motivation at some point for you, Rachel. I have not read the energy codes. Do I need to? Who's it by? How do I find it? I see that for you, Jackie. You have been having this like renewed drive. Also, you're a Leo rising. It's Leo season. The sun has moved into your first house. We got to do your free reading so we can really look at the energy coming up for you. But yeah, it's like a whole new you coming out this Leo season, and I love to see it. So Mars and Gemini. Are we excited for it? Are we a little nervous about it? Either way, it's happening, and it'll be around from tomorrow or late tonight, depending on where you live, into March of 2023. Hard to even think about March of 2023. It seems so far away, but you know, it's closer than we think. Closer than we think. All right. That's the main transit of Saturday. Let's talk about what's going on with the moon. So the moon will still be in Gemini all day on Saturday. You can see the chart. Let me jump ahead a day here so you can see with your own eyeballs Mars moving into Gemini. Watch Mars, 29 degrees and 0 degrees. Now, it's also worth noting before we get into what's going on with the moon, Mars at 0 degrees, a 0 degree planet is also this critical degree, and it's going to make us really eager to do all the things on Saturday. So you might feel like, I'm going to do this all in one day on Saturday. The 0 degree placement is like, you're going to be really eager to learn. We are really eager to chat and communicate with other people on Saturday with Mars at 0 degrees. So just keep that in mind. It's like this restless energy, and then we get there and we're like, okay, let's use this. How can we use it? How can we do all the things? Go to your local library on Saturday. Great way to take advantage of Mars at 0 degrees. But here we go. The moon in Gemini. Like I said, lots of Gemini energy this weekend. And the moon makes 3 different connections on Saturday. First at 2 a.m. So if you're up late on Friday night into Saturday morning, you're experiencing Mars moving into Gemini. The Gemini moon will form a sextile to Venus. And this is at 2 a.m. So Venus is currently at 11 degrees in Leo, when the moon is at 11 degrees over here, they'll be in this nice 60-degree angle to one another. It'll be easier to tap into love, to feel good Friday night into Saturday morning. If you're sleeping, this could bring some nice sweet dreams to you. Kind of nice that this is happening after Mars moves into Gemini, because less aggressive and restless and more eager to feel something good. And yeah, just easier to tap into love when the moon forms a sextile to Venus. Also, it'll help us see the beauty in things more easily, communicate in a more harmonious, balanced, eloquent manner when the moon forms a sextile to Venus. So, like I said, if you're sleeping, it might just be like some nice, rosy, sweet dreams. But if you are awake still, remember Venus is in Leo too, so there's an element of boldness here. I could just see, like, you're out late on Friday night, you know, last call at the bar, 2 a.m. It's like, just get this visual of like, I love you, man. Like, I love you so much, you know, like that drunk. We love a lovey drunk, right? But like the need to express love, like, I just love you. Like, life is so beautiful with the moon forming a sextile to Venus. And then at noon on Saturday, the moon forms that same supportive angle to Chiron. Also, I just have to say, is it Maribel or Rose that's going to a memorial? I think it's Rose. Rose. Again, the Gemini moon processing with this supportive angle to Chiron. There can be healing that happens at this memorial from sharing stories. We can understand our wounding in a new light when the moon forms a sextile to Chiron, because remember, the Gemini moon is really about understanding our emotions and processing our emotions through our mental state, through our communication, through our words. Especially if we're willing to get curious about our pain, about our trauma, about our wounding, and like just lean into it just the slightest bit. There's a really big healing potential with the moon forming a sextile to Chiron on Saturday. So even just thinking or talking about, Chiron is retrograde now, so the pain of the past, or kind of reviewing our wounding, it could bring it into your conscious awareness in a new way and allow you to see things and process things mentally in a new light. So just know that Chiron is on our side on Saturday. And if we want to heal, if we want to push the needle forward on our healing journey, we have support from the stars. All right, the final transit that we will talk about on Saturday happens at midnight on Saturday night. Lots of overnight activation this weekend. I can see a lot of people potentially staying up late, but this transit might not actually keep you up. So let me jump ahead, and you can see the Gemini moon will form a trine to Saturn. Here it is. Saturn at 21 degrees, the moon at 21 degrees, this nice trine. Saturn normally likes to throw a wrench in things, be harsh, be negative, but when we have a fortunate trine, a nice harmonious angle like this, it can really help us act maturely. And this could be nice, especially if you went hard on Friday night, Saturday night, just having that internal parent be like, you know, maybe we should get some rest. Maybe we should be a little more low-key this Saturday night. So as the clock starts winding down, 10, 11 p.m. Pacific time on Saturday, it's like Saturn is like, hey, look at the time. You need your beauty sleep. Let's just be a little bit more of an adult here. You know, Saturn likes to kind of rain on the party a little bit, but with good intentions, I guess, wanting us to take care of ourselves. So there also is, with Saturn retrograde, in fact, no, not all the planets are retrograde, but there also with Saturn retrograde is this element of review. So reviewing the lessons we've learned, gaining a greater understanding with the moon in Gemini of the lessons we've already learned, the hardships we've already walked through. The moon harmonizing with Saturn is like, oh, this is why everything has played out the way it's played out. And I understand now, and I can see from a more mature, more responsible perspective. So not only are we feeling more responsible in the moment on Saturday night, but we can also see the bigger picture from a little bit more of a practical, responsible lens. Like, okay, I get it now. I understand. It's like when you're an adult and you can look back on your childhood and be like, oh, now I get why my parents did that thing, or now I get why this person acted the way they did, because I have more experience now and more understanding now. And we get like a little taste of that on Saturday night as we are willing to look back on the lessons we've learned. Like, I get it now. I understand why things have happened the way they have. And also, I might just want to like be tired and go home and be an adult on Saturday night. So Saturn has some potentials to help us gain understanding, but also just be adults on Saturday night. You know, not the most fun energy, but we might need it after all of the Mars activation Friday into Saturday, and Jupiter connecting with the moon and Venus connecting with the moon. I see Friday night as really the night people are gonna like, let's do it all, let's go big. And by Saturday night, it's like, let's hit the pillow hard. So that's our Saturday. Now let's talk about Sunday. We have one major transit to get to on Sunday, and then some connections with the moon to go over. So on Sunday, Mercury opposes Neptune. What's really interesting about this transit in particular is that Mercury is now exalted in Virgo. It's in this place of power because it rules Virgo, and Neptune is in domicile or at home in Pisces. So both of these planets are in their home signs, but they're opposing one another. And here's what that looks like, that big red line on the chart, that opposition between Mercury and Neptune. Now, often when we hear like an opposition, we're like, oh, like it's going to be bad, you know, it's going to be conflict or a face-off. But I like to remind you that an opposition is a make or break energy. So if we can lean into it and work with it, it can actually be really beneficial for us. If we're unconscious and not really aware of what's going on, this can just create a lot of confusion, delusion. We can be really gullible or easily talked into things with Mercury opposing Neptune. Or if we're trying to gain clarity, it's like Neptune is fogging our view. Today, Sunday, not the day for clarity, not the day to pin down any details, sign any contracts, do anything that involves the fine print. No go on Sunday. Just don't do it. Wait until Monday. Wait until Virgo season when we're all a little bit more in the details, right? This is the day rather to lean into our subconscious mind, our creativity. So the best way we can use this opposition between Mercury and Neptune is through creativity, through painting, singing, creative writing, making art, dancing. Like leaning into that part of our brain can be really powerful and expressive. And do you ever find, let me know, do you ever find that sometimes when you allow your rational mind to blur and you go into that creative state, like even sometimes if I'm working on a creative project, my vision starts to literally blur. Like it's just like I'm just kind of doing it with my subconscious mind and going through it. But in those moments, sometimes you can have these like realizations that pop up. Maybe that's just me, but being in that more creative subliminal space is definitely recommended on Sunday. And you know, being in that fictional place too, reading a fictional book, getting lost in another realm, in another world, in a fantasy, movie marathon on Sunday, you know, Mercury opposing Neptune, just being in another realm, that's going to be really activating actually for our mind in a lot of ways. So not the day to figure things out on a rational level. You could figure things out on a creative level. There can be clarity that comes from that, but using those blurry boundaries, that fogginess to your advantage by letting communication, which is ruled by Mercury, flow from your subconscious. It's why when you see like really beautiful art, you're like, how do these people, you know, like these artists create such abstract concepts sometimes? And it's like, that's all coming from somewhere weird in the brain. That's not coming from up here, like X plus Y equals Z. Artists probably aren't thinking like that when they're creating abstract or really like beautiful things. So kind of leaning into our inner artist and leaning into that creativity, letting things flow from the subconscious rather than the conscious. But know that communication, lines could get crossed with Mercury opposing Neptune. Be understanding if there is a communication breakdown, just know that that is a possibility. I also just want to point out Neptune is retrograde, like so many freaking planets. After next week, I think all the outer planets will be retrograde because Uranus stations retrograde next Wednesday, which of course we'll talk about. But Neptune retrograde feels like it's like pulling back the curtain on an illusion. So being in that creative space can be like pulling back your own curtain of your subconscious. Does that make sense? Like, I almost see like our brain divided between the conscious and subconscious by this veil, by this curtain. And Neptune retrograde, if we really lean into this energy, we can kind of pull it back and be like, ooh, look at all the juicy creativity that's been living back here that, you know, as children, we could just tap into really easily, imagining things. So using your imagination, going back behind the veil of your own subconscious mind and working with that to create something really beautiful and express something really beautiful rather than having to make it make sense. Create art for the sake of creating art, not for the sake of making it good on Sunday. Okay, like finger paint, let it be ugly, let it be messy. It's not going to be clean. Mercury in Virgo wants it to be clean. Neptune and Pisces is like, no way. It's going to be a mess, and it's going to be a beautiful mess. Ooh, yes, going to finish my painting on Sunday. Perfect energy for that, Maribel. Perfect, perfect energy. I thrive being in that creative mode. I love the feeling of just getting lost in my photography or my design work. Yeah, really miss it and trying to flow back into it. And Rachel, I know this has been coming up, you know, but do it for the sake of loving it and for art rather than, I am so guilty of this. So I'm not saying this with any judgment. Everything I do has to like have a purpose, you know, but I can't even remember the last time I made art just to make art, just for the fun of it. I remember I would, like, in high school, I would be so creative all the time and just be doing all these creative projects just for the fun of it, or like making things for my friends just because I wanted to. And now being an entrepreneur, everything I do is like, okay, well, this creative project is for this business idea, and this creative project is for this purpose. This creative project is to make my house more beautiful. Be in that creative mindset just to be in that creative mindset. Let it be a beautiful mess. Play the song Beautiful Mess by Diamond Rio. Great song. Great song. He knows I love that song. Okay, so that's what's going on with our major energy on Sunday. And it does feel like this window of opportunity to really like take advantage of this opposition, tap back into our subconscious mind in this way, because Mercury does move so quickly. So use the energy wisely for your creative endeavors on Sunday. The last quarter moon in Gemini makes a couple different connections on Sunday, or maybe just a couple different connections on Sunday. So let's talk about those. And then it moves into Cancer. And it'll actually be more of just the waning moon on Sunday, not really in the last quarter phase anymore. Just a reminder, the waning moon is all about letting go and surrendering, not trying to control anything at all. So really playing into that beautiful mess analogy, like surrender to your creative flow, let it be, let it flow out, just simply surrender. And I'm like looking at my little moon chart here because all it says under the waning crescent moon is surrender. Like that is the thing to do this weekend. Go with the flow. The last quarter moon in Gemini is actually making this pivotal connection to the Mercury-Neptune opposition. We're going to wake up feeling this. So I'm going to jump back 6 hours here so you can actually see this T-square on the chart. There it is, that giant triangle. That giant red triangle is the T-square. So as Mercury and Neptune oppose each other in that red line going straight across the chart, the moon, and that opposition, by the way, is exact at 12:40 a.m. So you might even start to feel that creative flow on Saturday night into Sunday morning. Also, wait, hold on, back up, rewind. Many of us are going to be asleep during this exact opposition. Pay attention to your dreams. Messages can come through very clearly in that subconscious state on Saturday night. Dream journal on Sunday morning. If you dreamt about anything weird, like pay attention to your dreams Saturday night into Sunday morning. Mercury connects our rational mind to Neptune and Pisces, our dream state, and things it just feels like with this opposition, whatever messages your subconscious mind has been subtly trying to tell you can come through very clearly in your dream state Saturday night into Sunday morning. But we wake up under the Gemini moon in a T-square to this opposition. And when we have a T-square, the planet at the right angle becomes the focal point of the T-square. And that means our emotions become the focal point of the experience on Sunday morning. So it's going back into, and this might feel repetitive, but leading with your emotions in that creative space, using your artistic abilities to process emotions, like letting emotion lead the way, getting out a paint set and just being like, let me paint how I feel right now and see what comes up. And that can be a really fun way to process how you're feeling. Or again, creative writing, like writing about your emotions, making your emotions the focal point of that creative experience. And the creative experience can actually bring you clarity about how you're feeling in a lot of ways if you use this transit to your advantage. So know that our emotions might feel confusing. You know, individually, when the moon is squaring Mercury, it's like a clash between our mind and emotions. And when the moon is squaring Neptune, it's like, what the heck is going on? I'm so confused. So there could be a lot of confusion in general on Sunday morning, especially if you wake up from a wild dream. It's like, what the heck did that mean? But be willing to tap into your subconscious mind, tap into that creative flow, really make your emotions the center piece of your experience on Sunday morning. And with the moon in Gemini, there is this element of processing. So just know that you can process a lot of things just by being creative and letting go of the need for it to fully make sense. I think that's the biggest thing I could recommend. Okay, so that's the first transit we feel with the moon on Sunday. Then at, I believe, 2 p.m., yes, the moon forms a sextile to the sun. And this is the last connection the Gemini moon makes, this waning moon makes, is a sextile to the sun. So you can see that starting to play out here. The moon at 27 degrees, the sun at 28 degrees. That dark blue line is that nice supportive angle between the moon and the sun. The moon representing our internal state, our emotions, of course. The sun representing our vitality, our consciousness, our confidence, our willpower. So the moon and sun, it's like we'll feel kind of confident in what we're doing, even if it doesn't make sense on Sunday, at least Sunday afternoon. It just helps us get a little pep in our step, get a little bit more willingness to communicate and share. Maybe this is a moment where you had a creative morning and now you're sharing what you created with a partner or a family member or a friend and kind of sharing what's been coming up for you through that creative process. But in general, when the moon and sun support each other this way, we feel more confident. We feel that vitality. If we're willing to lean into it, we can feel it easily. Remember, a sextile requires us to do a little effort to feel the benefits of it. But, being willing to share how we're feeling and show up generally will bring back positive energy to us and make us feel more confident about our current experience. The moon is void from about 2 to 5 Pacific time on Saturday, so full permission to just kick up your feet and relax, tie up any loose ends before Virgo season begins. That's kind of what this void moon is telling me, like, gotta make sure that we're prepared for Virgo season. And it's interesting that we're starting Virgo season under a waning moon. It doesn't feel like we'll really kick into that like peak Virgo-ness until the new moon next weekend, but there is an element of purging, cleaning out, and the void moon can just kind of help us to like clear out and tie up any loose ends, or just give ourselves a nice rest before we get into the thick of Virgo season and productivity season, if you know what I mean. So the moon is void. Take a chill pill, take a rest. Check off anything on your to-do list. Don't start anything new on Sunday afternoon. Then the waning crescent moon moves into Cancer at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. This is the final transit, the final planetary movement we're talking about for the weekend. The waning moon in Cancer on Sunday evening just feels like a Sunday night, right? The moon is at home in Cancer. It's a homecoming, a return to our emotions. We want the comfort food on Sunday night. And also there's an element of clearing out our home. Cancer rules the home. And with the waning moon and this surrender, this almost purging state coming into the dark moon, it's like, make sure you feel comfortable in your home Sunday night and at the beginning of next week as well. Virgo energy, once we really start talking about it on Monday, wants clarity, wants things to be clean and just so. So using that void moon energy, the moon moving into Cancer on Sunday night, just take even 20 minutes and clean up your space, clear it out so you can start Virgo season feeling like we're in a good, solid place and we can be productive in this space. But I really just feel like the focus on Sunday night is on the home and cleaning the home and clearing it out and making sure we feel good and feel comfortable in our home, in our comfort zone. Getting cozy in our environment can also help us get more comfortable in our emotional state too. You know, it just feels like a purging happening with this moon in Cancer. This, like, I even see people like cleaning out stuff, clutter, you know. It's interesting because we want to feel emotionally good under the moon in Cancer. And it might even just show up for you as like just wanting, if your house is already clean, like just enjoying being in your comfort zone, being in your cozy space on Sunday night, surrendering to your environment, if you will, with the waning moon in Cancer. Let's see, I made art my career, and with all the extra things we have to do, I feel like I just don't have time to let go and just be creative. I'm going to try and flow that into my schedule. Such a Virgo thing to say. I'm going to put that in my schedule, right? Guilty. But know that Sunday, even Saturday, sometime this weekend, don't even say I'm going to use these next 2 hours. Just sit down with the intention of creating and don't put a limit on it. Don't put a purpose on it. Let it be ugly. Let it be messy. See what emotions come up in the process. All right, so those are our transits for the weekend. Let's wrap up with our affirmation of the day today and something that can carry us through the weekend. My words are powerful. The moon is in Gemini. Mars is moving into Gemini. All about our communication, our words. Remember, your words are spells you cast. So sharing things with other people is powerful. Writing things down is powerful. This isn't really the time to manifest necessarily, although, you know, Jupiter and Venus are still close to one another. So if you are trying to manifest something, write it down under the Gemini moon. But in general, it's just a time to pay attention to what you're saying, how you're saying it, what other people are saying, and be really conscious of the words you're using, how you're speaking to yourself. Most importantly, your mental state is essentially an ongoing dialogue of how you talk to yourself. Are you being kind to yourself? Are you being critical of yourself? This is a time to kind of take stock of the words you're constantly thinking, saying, writing. And if there's something you need to get out of your vocabulary, this is a time to do it. Your words are so powerful. Your words shape your experience in so many ways. So don't discount the power you have just by speaking, by writing, by communicating in any way, shape, or form. Our words are really an asset all weekend long in a lot of ways. Maybe not quite on Sunday when Mercury opposes Neptune. We could get a little tongue-tied. Our words might not come as clearly, but I see Mars moving into Gemini like we want to talk. We are driven to talk. We are motivated to use our words, right? And so use them wisely and use them powerfully. There's a lot of responsibility that comes when we really take stock of the words we're using and the power behind them. Okay, let's finish up with our tarot pull, 3-card tarot pull from the Modern Witch tarot deck. Hey, Heather. I'm glad that affirmation was helpful for you. We're going to do a 3-card tarot pull. You know the drill. This is the time to ask any final questions, share any final reflections just about what's coming up for you as we just talk through the energy of the entire weekend. And let us know if you have any fun plans, how you're going to take advantage of this energy, what your favorite thing to do to be creative is. If you're finding this video later, feel free to throw all that in the comments. I love seeing your comments even after the fact. The energy is already starting to feel a little less dense than yesterday for me. I mean, yesterday I know you guys felt it. We had to take multiple deep breaths before pulling cards. It was like this, even though Mars is still at the anaretic degree, the restlessness feels a little more optimistic today in a lot of ways. Like, I think it's the moon in Gemini, just like, ooh, let's go do all the things. We're kind of excited about this restless energy. How can we use this? How can we take advantage of this? Okay. Let's take one collective deep breath together. However you're joining me, live, whatever platform, you're here for a reason, and just stop what you're doing for a moment and let's all just breathe together. Here we go. Breathe in. Hold. And release. What do we need to know on Friday? Ooh, the death card just came up on Friday. Okay, loud and clear. The sun came up on Saturday, and our Sunday card is the 9 of Pentacles. So I almost forgot we were doing a 3-card pull. Glad we didn't just stop at the death card, right? This can be a rough card, right? The death card. It seems really intimidating, but in tarot, and I always say I am not a tarot expert, but I know that the death card doesn't just mean bad things in tarot. You'll hear a lot of tarot readers talk about the death card as an opportunity. So here, let me scroll to it in my digital guidebook. Here we go. Death, Friday card. Death comes for us all. She comes on a pale horse, dressed in black leather, a skull bandana hinting at our inevitable end. Death is light and dark, truly and deeply a part of life. The queen tries to fight it and fails. The old woman is wise and ready to greet it without fear. The young woman can't even bear to think about it at all and turns away, pretending it's not there. The little girl is bright-eyed and innocent. She doesn't even understand why she would be afraid. Death is eternal, inescapable, and necessary. You don't have to let death control your life. Death is the moment of letting go. Death is the moment of letting go. Maybe there's a memory that haunts you or a thing you desperately want to believe about yourself and will into existence. If you can let it die, you'll finally be able to change into someone better and new. Rebirth can follow tough changes. Oof. It is no coincidence we pulled the death card on the last quarter moon. It is no coincidence we pulled the death card today. Yeah, death can be rebirth and transformation, absolutely. And this is the time to surrender and let go. What needs to die in your life? What do you need to let go of? Maybe it's just a mindset. Maybe, as we just talked about, it's something you keep repeating to yourself or saying out loud. What do you need to let go of to make space for the new? This is the time in the moon cycle to let things die, let things go. And, all we're talking about on Friday is the last quarter moon, which is perfect to pull the death card for. Okay, but Saturday, we pulled the sun. Feels like a very different energy, right, than the death card. And let's see, the sun, I will say, the sun is noticeably like a masculine energy. It represents masculine energy in astrology. And Mars, moving into Gemini on Saturday, Mars is the masculine, the planet of masculinity. So it feels like there's action. There's kind of this want to express and externalize. Here is what the guidebook says. The sun. With sunshine comes new life. Death, rebirth, right? With sunshine comes new life. An innocent child full of carefree joy and happiness waves a red banner high in the sky. Behind her, a gray wall is her past, and the flowers of memories bloom and thrive in the sun. There is wonder and warmth everywhere. The sun has turned the day into a promising playground ready for exploration. It is time to feel totally alive. Winter is over, the world is lush and full of excitement and beauty. Bask in the sunlight, embrace life. You might have just stumbled upon a big discovery or revelation that's astonishing, amazing, and helps you see things in a new and beautiful way. This new perspective is the result of your hard inner and outer work. And now it's time for the reward. So treat yourself, do something fun, have an adventure. The days are yours to fill with childlike wonder and optimism. This also not only feels like the last quarter moon, but Mars moving from Taurus to Gemini. This darker, and Taurus isn't necessarily a dark energy, but more of like a stagnant, we're at the anaretic degree. We're ready for this phase of Mars's cycle to be over. And the sun brings this renewed childlike excitement and motivation. Gemini is often associated with that childlike energy, that curiosity. And so I feel like pulling the sun the day Mars moves into Gemini is like, follow that curiosity, follow that new excitement, allow the past to be in the past. You already are shedding, you're already releasing under the last quarter moon on Friday. And Saturday can be the beginning, just even that spark of a new beginning for rebirth, for curiosity, for new opportunity, even opening that book, cracking it open. That can be the sun really opening us up to new life, new opportunity. Okay, and our Sunday card is the 9 of Pentacles. So let me scroll down to Pentacles here in the digital guidebook, almost exactly to it. Meant to be. Okay. The 9 of Pentacles on Sunday. Remember, we have Mercury opposing Neptune, this very creative but kind of confusing energy. 9 of Pentacles. Everything is wine and roses right now, and you can finally get comfortable and enjoy it. You've made smart decisions, managed your time and money wisely, and now you can sit back and enjoy the fruits of your labor. Treat yourself to something decadent. You truly earned it. Love this for us, especially as the moon moves into Cancer. It's like, comfort food, treat ourselves to something decadent. Let's let our body and our emotions feel good. But also, I love how it starts with everything is wine and roses, because Mercury opposing Neptune is kind of like putting on those rose-colored glasses, like leaning into the fantasy, leaning into the delusion a little bit, allowing that to be our experience on Sunday, knowing that there is a time and a place to check out. And Sunday is it, whether it's through a creative endeavor or through watching a fantastical movie. Having some sort of rosy, fun experience is definitely aligned for Sunday. And that can be part of the releasing process as well, just leaning into decadence. I love how it says, treat yourself, you've earned it. Like, you got through death, you released the thing that you had to release. You got this curiosity and this new awareness. Now just enjoy the vitality today. And it's interesting too that the moon forms a sextile to the sun. It really helps us lean into our vitality on Sunday and just really treat ourselves, enjoy the human experience. I even love how in the 9 of Pentacles, this woman is just like in the garden. She's got a bird on her hat. She's pulling some carrots. She's just enjoying life, communing with the animals. Sunday feels like a day to just enjoy what it is to be alive, enjoy all the different fantasies and realms that we can tap into and create in, and treat yourself. You deserve it. And remember, being creative can be a form of treating yourself. Breath in the air. Yeah, sounds like a good song to listen to. Ace of Spades in the poker deck is death. Interesting. My father's cat died yesterday and I buried him. My dad's cat outlived him by a couple years. Oh, I didn't realize it was your father's. And your father died on your birthday. His cat died a week before your 40th birthday. Wow. Synchronicity, right? This death and rebirth cycle that you are very much in right now. The universe is showing you this duality of death and rebirth and sending love to you. I'm sure it's a difficult time for you always around this time. I can only imagine. But now you have another spirit guide, and now your dad and his cat are reunited. So just know that we're sending love to you, and that you're these cards feel very aligned, kind of this death and then allowing the sun to shine on you again, really leaning into empathy for yourself, compassion for yourself. That can be easy to tap into with that Mercury-Neptune opposition too, like more compassion and empathy in our self-talk and in our mental state. Yeah, Saturday and Sunday do feel a little more cheerful, definitely. And like I said, the death card looks really intense and scary, but death is a part of life, and death is just a gateway to a new dimension, a new life, to light. None of us really know what comes after life, right? We don't find out until the end, but there have been enough people with near-death experiences, spiritual encounters, that we know something beautiful comes after this very human experience. So if even while we're still in the human experience, after the darkness, usually, always in my experience, comes some sort of light. So if you're in the darkness right now, just know the light is coming, and you can lean into that this weekend. And you'll probably feel it a little bit this weekend just based on these card pulls. Yeah. So grateful you've been here. So grateful to have you here, Maribel. Love having you here. All right, everybody. That's going to do it for this episode of Transits today. I am so grateful for each and every one of you, for the opportunity to walk through the weekend with you, to get in the right vibe, the right mindset for the energy that we are going to experience over the next couple days. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like this video, subscribe to our channel. These videos are completely free to you. It's so important for us to keep this information accessible to everybody. Astrology can be complex when you first start getting into it, but it doesn't have to be. And I hope that these videos help you understand your own emotions, your own mindset, and the current energy a little bit better. And I love how supportive you all are to one another. Like, you are all proof that there are such good people in this world. And truly, this live stream gives me faith in humanity. I'm like, you guys are all over the world, just planting seeds of positivity every day, seeing the light, being the light. And I love you all. I love you all. Let's all be creative this weekend. And that can raise the vibration too, just all of us being creative together. I'm excited to see what energy we bring into the live stream on Monday when we all get to kickstart Virgo season together. This Virgo is very excited, so expect a pump up for Virgo season on Monday, okay? I hope you all have a beautiful weekend. You brighten me every day, Rachel. I love seeing you here. And I hope you have some fabulous days ahead of you. I love you all. I will see you right back here on Monday morning for another episode of Transits Today. But until I see you next, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.